Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And if you are a parent or a grandparent, pay attention. We all know the SNP are continually pushing the sexualisation of children. And they're also trying to inform children of various, shall we say, falsehoods regarding sexuality. You know, that men who pretend to be women are women and that girls can be boys if they really want to be. That sort of thing. Most people, 99% of people, are rejecting this, and they say they don't want their children subjected to this kind of lies, basically, in school. They want to protect their children as long as possible, and they don't want teachers to be pushing this kind of stuff on the children. And there's been a big pushback for it. And so there was a petition launched, and the SNP said, oh, well, we'll have a look at the petition, we'll see where it goes. Well, it turns out that so many people are, shall we say, on the side of the right, and I mean not politically, I just mean the right as in the virtuous, and saying, look, we don't want children to be sexualised, that the SNP in their infinite wisdom have decided that rather than, listening to what the vast amount of people will want, they've decided just to cancel the petition, and that way they don't have to deal with that issue that goes against their continual push to sexualise children. Let's have a look. So, Scottish Government closes the petition to axe the controversial schools trans guidance. So many people signed up to axe this guidance because they don't want it foisted upon their children. They don't want this degenerate agenda made to be mainstream. That the SNP decided it was better to close the petition so they could avoid the whole issue and still force it onto schools rather than listening to parents and the people of Scotland. That goes to show they have less concern about the children of Scotland and more concern about sexualising the children of Scotland. We all know what the P stands for in SNP. Teacher guidance that encourages the affirmation of gender identity beliefs, which are wrong. This affirmation means, little Johnny wants to be little Janie now, and so everyone's got to pretend that Janie is a girl, even though Janie is clearly not a girl. But they want to push this in Scottish schools, and it will not be axed, despite the vast majority of people wanting this axed. MSPs are now under fire for their silence. They don't want to address it. And one can understand why. Because they know the moment they open their mouths and are asked the questions, why do you want to sexualise children? Why do you want to push lies and biological untruths onto children for the purposes of increasing their sexual awareness, rather than letting that remain the purview of the parents? And it's because they are all a bunch of degenerate child abusers. Holyrood's Public Petitions Committee backed away from calls from the campaign group Safeguarding Our Schools, who want the Scottish Government to axe its supporting transgender young people in schools guidance. Now, this actually affects so few people as to be a joke in its own self, but it's the principle of the SNP refusing to listen to parents' genuine concerns and continually pushing the sexualisation of children. This has been going on for some time. As we know, it was the SNP that put out a questionnaire asking 5-year-olds what they thought about when they were touching themselves. This is true. SOS described the current guidance as potentially breaching teachers' duty of care and raised conflicts with the Equality Act's sex-based provisions. Critics of the brief of the brief conversation at the Holyrood meeting of MSPs, the group said that they would appear to have rather had out of date and harmful guidance than to have actually reflect on and have difficult conversations about the issue. Yeah, they don't want to talk about it. They're so, I think, ashamed because they know that even though they're pushing this sexualisation of children, a lot of them don't want to do it, but it's the party way, and they know that the party demands that the children of Scotland are sexualised, are brought up so that they all can find the normalisation of the P being normalised, so that the peds in the party can have a ready supply of little chums to play with in future. this seems to be the direction of travel. The MSP for Kirkcaldy, David Torrance, who called the petition to be closed after evidence was considered, said axing the guidance would be detrimental to the well-being of transgender young people. No, it wouldn't. There is no evidence for that. There is nothing you can say. These kids, if they need that help, which most of them don't, because a lot of it is trans housing by their parents, if they needed help, they can find help outside of a school environment. Why push this onto children whose parents don't want it pushed? Why do you think that you should replace the parents? Is it because you know the parents would not readily want you anywhere near their children unless you had the legal right to be doing that? And there's a reason they don't want you anywhere near their children. It's because everyone looks at the SNP and all they see is the equivalency of Catholic priests. You know? It's there. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows that the SNP is filled with kiddie fiddlers. SOS said, our submission of updated, and I know, and I said it yesterday and I won't say the name, but we know, connected with the Celtic Boys Club and senior figures in the party. I know their names. SOS said, our submission of updated information was not considered in any meaningful way. So there we have it. Guidance, which is out of date and harmful to children, won't even be amended to reflect the most recent and relevant advice. There was only one MSP who spoke up when asked about the direction of the petition. Did you notice the silence, they said? Not one person was brave enough to speak up about what is evidently a dereliction of duty of care. Committee convener Jackson Carlaw said LGBT Youth Scotland and Scottish Trans were among those to come out and support the guidance. But regarding the concern that sex-based rights have not been upheld in the guidance, Mr. Carlaw said it is understood that amendments have been made to ensure references to the protected characteristics of sex and gender reassignment reflect developments in the complex area of law and policy. But we have to ask the question, if so many people are against this, why are you pushing it? If parents want to protect their children, why do you want to access those children? Why do parents who don't want their children sexualised have no say, and you continue your push to sexualise children? It can only be that obsession that the SNP have with young children. And we know why it is. Because the whole party, top to bottom, rank and file, peds. There's no other explanation. There's no other explanation for a party to continually push the sexualisation of children like this. And there is a reason for it, and that is that the whole party is just one massive, degenerate, filth-filled bunch of scum-feeding bastards, basically, for the want of a word. I would love to name names, but I'm not going to. But I could tell you, when you hear some of the names, if ever they come out and you hear some of the names, it won't surprise you. But just remember the Boys Club, and that's who fills the rank and file of the SNP. Coming up. And I will say to any SNP voter who's watching, look to your children, look to your grandchildren if you're older. Look at them and ask yourself this. Why does your party, the party you keep voting for, continually push to sexualise those children? Why does it want to continually remove rights from parents to say what those children learn and force those children to do things and hear things that the SNP want them to hear, not what the parents want? Then ask yourself, do they deserve your vote? Were you willing to just hand those children over to these people? Close your eyes and walk away and pretend that it's not happening. Don't think so. Stopping now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has opened your eyes a little bit. I hope it goes to show exactly what the SNP are, and it shows exactly what the P stands for, don't we? Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Goodbye.